I can't do this anymore, Jack. Lily's voice cut through the night air like a whip crack. I've loved you for 2 years, 2 goddamn years, and you look at me like I'm just another ranch hand. Her hands were balled into fists at her sides, her whole body shaking with rage and heartbreak. Every morning, I make your coffee. Every night, I balance your books, and you don't see me. You've never seen me. Jack stood frozen, his mouth open but no words coming. She'd never raised her voice to him before. Never. Say something, she demanded. For once in your life, say something that matters. Thank you for joining me today. Please subscribe to this channel and stay with me until the very end of this story. I'd love to hear from you. Comment below with the city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. Jack's silence stretched between them like a rope pulled too tight. His jaw worked but nothing came out. That's what I thought, Lily said, her voice breaking. She turned on her heel. Wait! The word came out barely above a whisper. She stopped but did not turn around. Why should I? Because I don't know what to say. His voice was raw, honest in a way she'd never heard before. You just threw a grenade into my life, Lily. Give me a goddamn minute to figure out what pieces are left. She whirled back to face him. A grenade? That's what my love is to you. Something that destroys. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Her voice cracked. Do you know what it's like? Watching you every single day, knowing you'll never look at me the way I look at you. Jack ran his hand through his hair, his frustration mounting. How was I supposed to know you never said anything? I shouldn't have to, Lily shot back. A woman shouldn't have to spell it out like she's teaching a child to read. Then maybe I'm stupid. Jack's voice rose to match hers. Maybe I'm just a dumb cowboy who doesn't understand the signals women send. You're not stupid, Jack. You're blind. The fight drained out of her voice, leaving only exhaustion. Or maybe you just don't want to see. He took a step toward her. That's not fair. None of this is fair. She laughed, but it was bitter. You want to know what's not fair? I came here 2 years ago thinking I'd work for 6 months and move on. But then I met you, and I couldn't leave. I couldn't walk away because some stupid part of me kept hoping that one day you'd wake up and notice me. Really notice me. I notice you, Jack said quietly. No, you notice what I do for you. That's different. She wrapped her arms around herself. You notice when the books are balanced, and when your coffee's ready, and when the supply orders are done on time. But you don't see me, Jack. You've never once asked me what I want, what I dream about, what keeps me awake at night. The accusation hit him harder than he expected. She was right. He knew she was right. So tell me now, he said. What keeps you awake? You do. The words came out so soft, he almost didn't hear them. Every night I lie there thinking about you, wondering if you're thinking about me, knowing you're not. Jack felt something crack inside his chest. Lily. Don't. She held up her hand. Don't say something just to make me feel better. I've had enough of people saying things they don't mean. Who hurt you? The question surprised them both. She blinked. What? Someone hurt you before. That's why you're so scared. He took another step closer. Who was he? That doesn't matter. It does if it's making you think I'm like him. Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she refused to let them fall. His name was Thomas. We were engaged. He looked at me every day for 3 years and then told me he never really loved me. That he was just comfortable, that I was convenient. Jesus, Lily. So, yes, Jack, I'm scared. I'm terrified that you're going to look at me tomorrow morning and realize that what you're feeling right now isn't real, that I'm just convenient to you, too. You're not convenient, Jack said firmly. You're the least convenient thing that's ever happened to me. Despite herself, she almost smiled. Is that supposed to be romantic? I don't know how to be romantic. I know how to work cattle and fix fences and balance a budget. I don't know how to talk about feelings. Then learn, Lily said simply. Because if you want me to stay, you're going to have to try. I don't want you to stay. The words hit her like a physical blow. She stepped back, her face going pale. I see. No, you don't. Jack closed the distance between them in 2 strides. I don't want you to stay because of what you do for me, or because you hope I'll change. I want you to stay because you want to be here, with me. Not for the ranch, or the work, or any of that, just for me. Her breath caught. Jack, I'm not Thomas. He said, his voice steady and sure. I'm not going to waste 3 years of your life and then tell you I was just comfortable. I don't do comfortable. I do real or I do nothing. And what is this? She gestured between them. What are we doing right now? Hell if I know, he admitted. But it feels real to me. She searched his face, looking for any sign of doubt. You swear you're not just saying this because I put you on the spot? I swear. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His fingers brushed her cheek. I swear on this ranch, on every damn thing I've built, that I'm not playing games with you. The ranch is all you have, she whispered. No. His thumb traced her jawline. Not anymore. The kiss happened before either of them planned it. Her hands fisted in his shirt and his arms wrapped around her waist, and suddenly 2 years of want and need and loneliness poured out between them. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. We can't do this, Lily gasped. Why not? Because I work for you. Because it's complicated. Because you're scared, Jack finished. So am I. She looked up at him, surprised. You're scared, terrified. He didn't let her go. I've never felt this way about anyone. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I don't want to go back to how things were this morning when you were just my bookkeeper and I was just your boss. What do you want us to be? I don't know, he admitted. But I want to find out. Lily pulled back, putting space between them. She needed to think clearly, and she couldn't do that when he was touching her. This morning I was ready to quit, to pack my bags and leave because I couldn't stand it anymore. And now I don't know what I'm doing either. She wrapped her arms around herself again. But I need you to understand something, Jack. I can't be the only one trying here. I can't be the one who always makes the first move, who always takes the risk. If we're going to do this, whatever this is, you have to meet me halfway. I can do that, he said. Can you? She challenged him. Because I've been meeting you more than halfway for 2 years. I've been the one showing up, caring, trying. And you've been blind, he finished. You said that already, and you're right. So what changes? Lily demanded. How do I know that tomorrow morning you won't just go back to being the same Jack Turner who barely notices when I walk into a room? Because I see you now, he said simply, and I can't unsee you. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him so badly it hurt. But Thomas had said similar things once, and look how that turned out. I need time, she said finally. Jack's face fell. Time for what? To think. To figure out if I can trust this. Trust you. She took a breath. I'm not saying no, Jack. I'm saying not yet. How much time? I don't know. A day, a week, maybe longer. Maybe a week. He looked like she'd kicked him. Lily, you just told me you've loved me for 2 years. Now you want a week to think about whether we should try. Yes? Her voice rose again. Because this is my heart. We're talking about Jack. And I've already had it broken once by a man who said all the right things but didn't mean any of them. I mean them, Jack said fiercely. Prove it. The challenge hung between them. How? I don't know, she admitted. But grand gestures don't work on me. I don't need flowers or chocolates or poetry. I need consistency. I need to know that 3 months from now, 6 months from now, you're still going to look at me the way you're looking at me right now. Jack was quiet for a long moment. You're asking me to prove something that only time can prove. I know. Her voice softened. I know that's not fair. But I've been unfair to myself for 2 years, Jack. I think I've earned the right to be a little unfair to you. He couldn't argue with that. What do we do in the meantime? We keep working, Lily said. The ranch doesn't stop because we're having a personal crisis. The cattle still need feeding. The books still need balancing. You want to just pretend this conversation never happened? No. She met his eyes. I want to see how you act now that you know. I want to see if you mean what you said about seeing me. Understanding dawned on his face. You're testing me. I'm protecting myself, she corrected. There's a difference. Jack wanted to argue. Wanted to tell her that he'd already proven himself just by being honest with her. But he could see the fear in her eyes, the same fear he'd heard in her voice when she talked about Thomas. She wasn't trying to punish him. She was trying to survive. All right, he said finally. We do this your way. But I need you to promise me something. What? Don't shut me out completely. If I'm doing something wrong, tell me. If I'm being blind again, call me on it. I can't fix what I don't know is broken. Lily nodded slowly. I can do that. And one more thing. He stepped closer again, but didn't touch her. Don't expect me to be perfect at this. I'm going to mess up. Probably a lot. But I need you to give me room to try. I will, she promised. But Jack, if you hurt me the way Thomas did, I won't give you a second chance. I can't. The weight of that statement settled over both of them. This wasn't a game or a casual romance. This was real, with real consequences. I understand, Jack said. And I won't waste your time. If I figure out this isn't what I want, I'll tell you straight. No leading you on. Thank you. Relief flooded through her. That was all she could ask for honesty. They stood there in the darkness. Two people who'd worked side by side for 2 years, suddenly strangers to each other. Everything had changed in the span of one conversation, and neither of them knew how to navigate this new terrain. I should go, Lily said finally. It's late. Yeah. Jack didn't want her to leave, but he understood why she needed to. I'll see you in the morning. Same as always. She managed a small smile. Coffee at 6. Lily, he called out as she turned to go. Yeah. Thank you for finally telling me, for being brave enough to say what I was too blind to see. She looked back at him, and in the moonlight, he could see fresh tears on her cheeks. Don't thank me yet, Jack Turner. We haven't even started the hard part. Then she was gone, walking back toward her small cabin on the edge of the property, leaving Jack standing alone under the vast Wyoming sky, his mind reeling from everything that had just happened. He'd woken up this morning, thinking it was just another day on the ranch. Another day of work and routine, and the comfortable silence he'd built his life around. He'd gone to bed tonight with his entire world turned upside down, and no idea how to right it again. But one thing was certain, he couldn't go back. Lily had been right about that. He saw her now, really saw her, and he couldn't pretend he didn't. The question was whether seeing her was enough, or if she needed something more from him that he didn't know how to give. Jack walked slowly back to the main house, his boots heavy on the packed earth. Inside, everything looked the same as it always did. His coffee mug from this morning still sat in the sink. The ranch ledgers were stacked neatly on the kitchen table where Lily had left them. Her handwriting marked every page neat and precise, a record of every decision they'd made together over the past 2 years. He'd never thought about it before, but she was everywhere in this house. In the organized pantry and the alphabetized spice rack. In the curtains, she'd insisted on buying last spring, because a house needs something soft, Jack, not just function. In the way the furniture was arranged, creating conversation spaces he never used because he never had anyone to talk to. She'd been building a home for him without him even realizing it, and he'd been too damn focused on the ranch to notice. Jack sat down heavily at the kitchen table and pulled the ledgers toward him. Her latest entry was from this afternoon, a notation about a veterinary bill and a reminder to order more fence posts. Practical. Efficient. Everything Lily did was designed to make his life easier. What had he ever done to make hers easier? The question gnawed at him. He provided her salary, sure, and a place to live in the cabin. But beyond that, he couldn't think of a single thing. She gave and gave and gave, and he just took without question. No wonder she'd finally broken. No wonder she'd screamed at him in the darkness, her frustration and love and pain all pouring out at once. She'd probably been holding it in for months, maybe years, and tonight something had finally snapped. He needed to do better. Not just say better, but be better. The question was how. Jack wasn't a man who read romance novels or watched love stories. He didn't know the script for this kind of thing. All he knew was work and honesty and showing up every day to do what needed to be done. Maybe that was enough. Maybe Lily didn't need grand gestures or pretty words. Maybe she just needed him to show up for her the way she'd been showing up for him all along. He could do that. He would do that. Starting tomorrow morning at 6, when she made his coffee, he'd make hers too. It was a small thing, probably meaningless in the grand scheme of things. But it was a start. And if there was one thing Jack Turner knew how to do, it was start something and see it through to the end. He just hoped Lily would give him enough time to prove it. The kitchen light was already on when Jack came downstairs at 5:45. He'd barely slept, his mind churning through everything Lily had said, everything he should have said back. But here he was, 15 minutes early, determined to make that coffee he'd promised himself he'd make. Except Lily was already there. She stood at the counter, her back to him, pouring beans into the grinder. She hadn't heard him come in over the sound of the machine. Jack watched her for a moment, noticing things he'd never paid attention to before. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she concentrated, the efficiency of her movements, the tension in her shoulders that suggested she'd slept about as well as he had. "You're early," he said. She jumped, spinning around. Coffee beans scattered across the counter. "Jesus, Jack! You scared me." "Sorry." He moved to help her gather the beans. Their hands touched over a stray bean, and both pulled back like they'd been burned. The awkwardness hung between them like smoke. "I was going to make your coffee," Jack said finally. Lily blinked. "What?" "Your coffee. I wanted to make it for you this morning." He gestured at the coffee maker. "But you're already here, so you wanted to make me coffee." She said it like he'd just announced he could fly. "That's what I said, isn't it? You've never made me coffee, not once in 2 years." "I know." Jack rubbed the back of his neck. "That's kind of the point." She studied him, her expression unreadable. "You didn't sleep, did you?" "Did you?" "No." She turned back to the grinder, reloading the beans. "I kept replaying everything I said, wondering if I was too harsh, if I pushed too hard." "You weren't," Jack said firmly. "You were honest. That's what I needed." "Honesty isn't always kind," Lily said quietly. "No, but it's real. And you were right, I want real or I want nothing." She hit the grinder button, the noise cutting off any response. When the grinding stopped, she poured the grounds into the filter with practiced precision. Neither of them spoke as the coffee began to brew, the silence stretching uncomfortable and uncertain. "So what now?" Lily asked finally. "We just stand here and pretend everything's normal." "Is anything normal?" Jack countered. "No." She leaned against the counter, crossing her arms. "Nothing's been normal since I opened my mouth last night." "Do you regret it?" The question made her pause. "I regret the timing. I regret losing my temper. But telling you the truth, no. I don't regret that. Regret. Good." Jack moved closer but kept a respectful distance. "Because I've been thinking about what you said, about meeting you halfway. And I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'm trying to figure it out." Lily's expression softened slightly. "That's all I'm asking for, Jack. Just try." The coffee maker beeped. She poured 2 cups, handing one to him. Their fingers brushed again, but this time neither pulled away. "Thank you," Jack said. "For the coffee. For giving me a chance." He took a sip, buying time to figure out what to say next. "I know I don't deserve it after 2 years of being blind, but—" "Stop." Lily held up her hand. "Don't do that. Don't put yourself down to make me feel better. It doesn't work that way." "Then how does it work?" "You just show up, Jack. Every day. You be present. You pay attention. That's it. That's all I need." "That sounds too simple." "It is simple," she said. "It's just not easy." Before Jack could respond, they heard the rumble of a truck pulling up outside. Both of them tensed. "You expecting someone?" Lily asked. "No." Jack set down his coffee and headed for the door. "Stay here." "Like hell I will," she muttered, following him out. The truck in the driveway was unfamiliar, a beat-up Chevy with Montana plates. A man climbed out, tall and lean, with the kind of weathered face that came from years of outdoor work. He looked to be in his late 50s, maybe early 60s. "Can I help you?" Jack called out. The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "That depends. You Jack Turner." "Who's asking?" "Name's Dale Morgan." The man's gaze shifted to Lily and something changed in his expression. "And you must be my daughter." Lily went rigid beside Jack. "What? Lily Morgan, right?" Dale took a step closer. "Born April 15th, 32 years ago in Billings, Montana." "How do you—" Lily's voice came out strangled. "What are you doing here?" "Came to see my little girl," Dale said, like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Figure it's been long enough." Jack felt Lily trembling beside him. He'd never seen her scared before, not like this. "I think you should leave," he said, his voice hard. "Now hold on." "You heard me. Get back in your truck and go." Dale's expression turned cold. "This is between me and my daughter. Doesn't concern you, Cowboy." "Everything concerning Lily concerns me," Jack shot back. "That right." Dale looked between them, a knowing smirk crossing his face. "Didn't realize my daughter had herself a boyfriend. That's sweet." "Get out." Lily found her voice and it came out like steel. "You have no right to be here." "I'm your father." "You're nothing to me." The words exploded out of her. "You left when I was 6 years old. You don't get to show up 32 years later and call yourself my father." "Lily." Dale started. "No." She stepped forward, and Jack could see her hands shaking. "You don't get to Lily me. You don't get to act like we have some kind of relationship. You walked out and never looked back. I had my reasons." "I don't care about your reasons." Tears were streaming down her face now, but her voice never wavered. "I needed you when I was 6. I needed you when I was 10, and the other kids asked where my dad was. I needed you when I was 16 and scared and alone, but you weren't there. You were never there." Dale's face reddened. "You think I wanted to leave? You think that was easy for me?" "I think you're a coward," Lily said flatly. "I think you ran away from responsibility, and now you want something from me. So let's skip the reunion scene and get to the real reason you're here. What do you want?" "Money." The directness of the question seemed to throw Dale off balance. "I'm dying," he said finally. Silence. "Cancer," Dale continued. "Stage 4. Doctors give me maybe 6 months." Lily's face was expressionless. And I wanted to see you before you die and your conscience finally catches up with you." She laughed, but it was hollow. "That's what this is, a deathbed redemption tour." "Lily, that's not fair." "Fair." Her voice rose. "You want to talk about fair? Where were you when Mom died? Where were you when I had to plan her funeral by myself at 23? Where were you when Thomas broke my heart and I had no one to call for help? I didn't know. Because you never bothered to find out." She was shouting now, all the pain and anger of 32 years pouring out. "You could have called. You could have written. You could have done something, anything, to let me know you still remembered you had a daughter, but you didn't. So don't you dare stand there and act like you're the victim." Jack wanted to intervene to protect her from this, but he knew she needed to say these things, needed to finally let out all the hurt she'd been carrying. Dale's shoulders sagged. "You're right. About all of it. I was a coward. I am a coward." "I don't want your confession," Lily said coldly. "I want you gone. I can't leave things like this." "Yes, you can. You did it once before, remember, you're good at leaving." "Lily, please." "No." She wrapped her arms around herself, and Jack could see her starting to shut down. "I don't owe you anything. Not forgiveness, not understanding, not my time or my tears or my sympathy. You made your choice 32 years ago. Live with it." "I just wanted to tell you I'm sorry," Dale said quietly. "That's all. I'm sorry for every day I wasn't there, for every birthday I missed, for every moment you needed a father and I wasn't man enough to be one." "Your apology doesn't change anything," Lily said. "It doesn't heal the wounds. It doesn't give me back the childhood I lost. It's just words, and words are cheap." "I know," Dale admitted, "but they're all I have left to give." Lily turned away. "Jack, will you please make sure he leaves?" "Wait," Dale said desperately. Can I ask you one question?" "Just one, and then I'll go. I promise." Lily didn't turn around, but she didn't walk away either. "What? Are you happy?" Dale's voice broke on the words. "Here on this ranch with this life you've built, are you happy?" The question hung in the air. Jack watched Lily's shoulders tense, then slowly relax. "I'm working on it," she said finally. "No thanks to you. That's all I needed to know." Dale pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket and set it on the hood of his truck. "My lawyer's information is in there. When I'm gone, there'll be some money. Not much, but it's yours. You can burn it if you want. I wanted you to have it." "I don't want your money," Lily said to the ground. "I know, but it's yours anyway." Dale climbed back into his truck. "For what it's worth, Lily, I know sorry doesn't cut it, but I am. I'm sorrier than you'll ever know." He started the engine. Lily still didn't turn around. Jack watched the truck pull away, leaving only dust and an envelope on the hood where it had been parked. The silence that followed was deafening. "Lily!" Jack started. "Don't." Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Just not yet. I can't." Her voice broke. Jack didn't think. He just moved, crossing the space between them and pulling her into his arms. She resisted for half a second, then collapsed against him. Her whole body shaking with sobs she'd probably been holding in for decades. "I got you," he murmured into her hair. "I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere." She clung to him like a drowning person clings to a life raft, and he held her tight, letting her cry out all the pain and anger and hurt that her father's visit had ripped open. They stood there for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes, until her sobs finally quieted into hiccuping breaths. "I'm sorry," she gasped out. "For what?" "For falling apart like this. For—" "Stop apologizing," Jack said firmly. "You have every right to fall apart. That was—" He struggled to find the right words. "That was brutal." Lily pulled back slightly, wiping at her face. "I thought I was over it. I thought I'd made peace with him abandoning us." "Some wounds don't heal," Jack said. "They just scab over until something tears them open again." She looked up at him, her eyes red and swollen. "When did you get so wise?" "I'm not wise. I just know about wounds." He brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Physical ones heal clean. Emotional ones, those are messier." "That's for damn sure," Lily said with a watery laugh. She stepped out of his embrace, immediately wrapping her arms around herself again. "I should get to work. The books won't balance themselves." "Lily, you don't have to." "Yes, I do." Her voice was firm. "If I stop moving, I'll start thinking. And if I start thinking about what just happened, I'll—" She shook her head. "I need to work. I need something normal." Jack understood. Work was how he'd always dealt with his own demons. "All right, but I'm checking on you every hour." "You don't have to." "I know I don't have to. I want to." He met her eyes. "You asked me to show up for you. This is me showing up." Something shifted in her expression. "Thank you." "Don't thank me for doing what I should have been doing all along." He picked up the envelope from the truck hood and handed it to her. "What do you want to do with this?" She stared at it like it might bite. "I don't know. Burn it, shred it, throw it in the creek. Or you could open it." Jack suggested gently. See what it says. Then decide. I don't want anything from him. I know. But this isn't about what he wants to give. It's about what you need to know. Lily took the envelope with shaking hands. When did this morning become so complicated? About the time your father showed up, I'd say. She almost smiled. Before that even. When you said you wanted to make me coffee. Is that complicated? For us, yeah. She tucked the envelope into her back pocket. Everything with us is complicated. Doesn't have to be, Jack said. Yes, it does. Lily started walking back toward the house. Because simple would mean we don't care, and we both know that's not the problem here. Jack followed her inside, his mind racing. In the span of 12 hours, they'd gone from co-workers to something undefined, from avoidance to confrontation, from Lily's confession of love to her father appearing like a ghost from her past. And it wasn't even 7 in the morning yet. Inside, Lily poured herself another cup of coffee, with hands that still shook slightly. I need to tell you something, she said without looking at him. What? Thomas wasn't the first man to make me feel like I wasn't enough. Her voice was steady, but Jack could hear the effort it took. My father did that when I was 6 years old. He looked at me and my mother and decided we weren't worth staying for. Lily, let me finish. She gripped her coffee cup tighter. When Thomas left, it wasn't just about him. It was about every man who'd ever made me feel disposable. So when I said I can't go through that again, I meant it. Not because I don't trust you specifically, but because I don't trust my own judgment anymore. The admission hit Jack hard. You think you'll choose wrong again? I know I will, she said flatly. Because I already did. I fell in love with a man who doesn't even know what love looks like. A man who's married to his ranch and his work and his isolation. A man who's standing right here hearing every word and still choosing to try? Jack interrupted. That count for anything? Lily finally looked at him. It counts for something. I'm just not sure it counts for enough. Then what would be enough? He was frustrated now, and it leaked into his voice. What do I have to do to prove I'm not your father or Thomas or any other man who hurt you? I don't know. She set her cup down hard enough that coffee sloshed over the rim. Don't you get it? I don't have an answer. I don't have a checklist or a test or a finish line where suddenly everything's okay. All I have is fear and hope fighting each other, and I don't know which one's going to win. So what do? Jack demanded. We keep trying, Lily said. We wake up tomorrow and the day after that, and we keep trying. And maybe one day the hope wins. Or maybe it doesn't. But at least we'll know we tried. Jack stared at her, this woman who'd just been broken open by her father's return and was still standing still, fighting, still trying. You're the strongest person I've ever met. She laughed, but it was bitter. I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm held together with duct tape and stubbornness. That's what strength is, Jack said. It's not never breaking. It's breaking and still getting up. Is that what we're doing? Lily asked softly. Getting up. I think so. He moved closer. I think we're both pretty broken, Lily. But maybe broken people understand each other better than whole ones. She didn't pull away when he reached for her hand. That's either the most romantic or most depressing thing anyone's ever said to me. Can it be both? With us, probably. She squeezed his hand. I'm scared, Jack. Me too. But you're still here. I'm still here, he confirmed. And I'll be here tomorrow morning when you make the coffee, and the morning after that, as many mornings as you'll let me. Lily's eyes filled with tears again, but she blinked them back. Don't make promises you can't keep. I'm not. Jack pulled her closer. I'm making promises I will keep. There's a difference. She rested her forehead against his chest. My father died today. What? Not literally. But the version of him I'd been carrying around, the one I kept hoping would come back and explain everything he died the moment he showed up, and proved he's just another broken person with excuses. She took a shaky breath. And I don't know if I'm sad or relieved. Maybe both, Jack said, echoing her earlier words. Maybe it's okay to feel two things at once. When did you become so good at this? Lily asked. I'm not good at it. I'm just honest. He stroked her hair. And right now, honestly, I'm angry at your father for hurting you. I'm scared I'll hurt you too, and I'm hoping like hell that we can figure this out before we both give up. Lily pulled back to look at him. You really mean that? Every word. Then we try, she said. Starting now, starting with you telling me one true thing about yourself that scares you. What? You heard me. She stepped out of his arms, creating space between them. You want to meet me halfway? Then let me in. Tell me something real. Jack's jaw tightened. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, Jack, but it's necessary. She crossed her arms, waiting. One true thing. Something you've never told anyone. He wanted to refuse, wanted to tell her that this wasn't the time or place. But he'd asked her to trust him, and trust had to go both ways. I'm terrified of being like my father, he said finally. The words felt like they'd been dragged out of him. He worked himself to death on this ranch. Literally. Dropped dead at 56 from a heart attack because he never took a day off, never asked for help, never let anyone in. Jack met her eyes. And every day I wake up and do exactly what he did. Work until I drop. Push everyone away. Build walls so high nobody can climb them. And I know it's killing me the same way it killed him, but I don't know how to stop. The silence that followed was heavy. Thank you, Lily said quietly. For what? For letting me in. She moved closer again. And for the record, you're already different from your father. How do you figure? Because you're here, having this conversation, trying to change. She touched his face gently. Your father never did that, did he? No, Jack admitted. He went to his grave convinced his way was the only way. Then you're already breaking the cycle. Lily smiled, and for the first time that morning, it reached her eyes. We're both breaking our cycles, together. Together, Jack repeated. The word felt foreign but right. They stood there in the kitchen, two broken people trying to build something whole, and for the first time in Jack's life, the silence didn't feel lonely. It felt like possibility. The possibility lasted exactly 3 hours before the phone rang. Jack was in the barn, checking on a mare with a swollen hock, when he heard Lily calling his name. The urgency in her voice made him drop the lead rope and run. She was standing in the doorway of the main house phone, pressed to her ear, her face pale. Say that again, she said into the phone. Slowly. Jack reached her side. What's wrong? She held up one finger, listening. And you're sure there's no mistake? A pause. I understand. Thank you for calling. She lowered the phone, staring at nothing. Lily, what happened? That was the hospital in Montana. Her voice was flat, distant. My father collapsed 2 hours after he left here. Brain aneurysm. He's dead. Jack felt like he'd been punched. Jesus. They found my number in his wallet, listed as next of kin. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Next of kin. That's rich. I haven't seen the man in 32 years and suddenly I'm his next of kin. Lily. Don't. She held up her hand. Don't tell me I should feel something. Don't tell me it's okay to grieve. Because I don't know what I feel, and that's the worst part. I don't feel sad. I don't feel relieved. I just feel nothing. Nothing's still something, Jack said quietly. Is it? She looked at him, and her eyes were dry. Because right now I feel like I should cry or scream or fall apart, but I can't. I can't. Then don't. Jack took the phone from her hand and set it down. You don't owe him tears. You don't owe him anything. The hospital needs someone to claim the body, to make arrangements. Her voice was mechanical. They said he had no other family, no one else to call. You don't have to do it, Jack said firmly. Let the state handle it. I can't do that. Why not? Because... She stopped, struggling to find the words. Because he came here this morning to make peace. and I threw it back in his face. And now he's dead, and I can't leave things like that. You didn't kill him, Lily. Didn't I? Her voice cracked. What if the stress of seeing me rejecting him caused the aneurysm? What if— Stop. Jack grabbed her shoulders. Aneurysms don't work that way. This was already there, already happening. Nothing you said or didn't say changed that. You don't know that. Yes, I do. He forced her to look at him. And so do you. You're just looking for a reason to blame yourself because that's easier than admitting you're angry at him for dying before you could figure out how to forgive him. The words hit her like a slap. That's not— It is. Jack's voice was gentle but firm. You wanted time. Time to decide if you could let him back in, and he took that choice away from you. So now you're angry, and you feel guilty for being angry, and you're spinning in circles trying to make sense of it. Lily's knees buckled. Jack caught her, guiding her to sit on the porch steps. She put her head in her hands. I told him to leave, she whispered. The last thing I said to my father was that his apology didn't change anything, and then he died. He knew you loved him, Jack said, sitting beside her. How could he possibly know that I didn't say it? I didn't— You asked if he was happy. Jack's voice was soft. That's what he wanted to know before he left. If you were happy. And you told him you were working on it. That's love, Lily. Angry love, hurt love, but love all the same. She was silent for a long moment. I have to go to Montana. I know. Will you come with me? The question surprised him. You want me there? I can't do this alone. She looked at him, and he saw the fear in her eyes. I know I said I needed time and space to figure us out, but right now, I just need you there. Is that selfish? No. Jack took her hand. It's human. So you'll come? I'll drive you myself. He squeezed her hand. When do we need to leave? Tomorrow morning. The hospital said I have 72 hours to claim the body before the state takes over. She took a shaky breath. There's paperwork. And his belongings. And I need to decide about a funeral, even though I have no idea who would come. We'll figure it out, Jack said. One step at a time. Lily nodded, but she looked lost. I should call the hospital back. Tell them I'm coming. I'll do it, Jack offered. You should go lie down. I can't lie down. I need to— She stood abruptly. The books. I need to finish the quarterly reports before we leave. Lily, the books can wait. No, they can't. Her voice rose. If I don't finish them, they won't get done, and then we'll be behind and— She stopped hearing herself. I'm spiraling. Yeah, Jack said gently. You are. Make it stop. The plea was barely audible. Please, Jack, make it stop. He pulled her into his arms, and this time when she cried, it wasn't the explosive grief from this morning. It was quieter, deeper, the kind of tears that came from a wound so old it had fossilized. I got you, he murmured. I'm right here. They stood there on the porch, Jack holding Lily, while she cried for a father she'd lost twice, once when he walked out and again when he died before she could decide if she wanted him back. When the tears finally stopped, Lily pulled back and wiped her face on her sleeve. I'm a mess. You're allowed to be a mess. I don't like being a mess. She took a deep breath. I like being in control, having a plan, knowing what comes next. So make a plan, Jack said. What do you need to do before we leave tomorrow? The practical question seemed to ground her. I need to pack. Call the hospital back. Check the ranch accounts to make sure everything's in order for the days we're gone. Find someone to feed the horses. I can handle the horses, Jack said. And the accounts can wait. But, Lily. He cut her off gently. The ranch will survive 3 days without perfect bookkeeping. Your mental health won't survive if you don't take care of yourself right now. She wanted to argue. He could see it in her face, but she didn't have the energy. Okay, she said finally. You're right. I'll pack and call the hospital. That's it. That's enough, Jack confirmed. She started toward her cabin, then stopped. Jack, yeah, thank you for all of this, for not making me do it alone. You don't have to thank me for being decent, Jack said. Yes, I do. She met his eyes. Because decent is rarer than you think. She walked away before he could respond, leaving Jack standing on the porch with a weight in his chest he couldn't quite name. The rest of the day passed in a blur of preparation. Jack called his neighbor Pete to ask him to check on the cattle while they were gone. Pete asked no questions, just agreed to help. That was the thing about ranching communities. When someone needed help, you gave it. No questions, no conditions, just showed up. Jack packed a bag, checked the truck's oil and tire pressure, and made a list of everything that needed doing before they left. He worked methodically, letting the routine tasks calm his racing mind. By evening, everything was ready. The horses were fed, the barn was locked up, and Jack's overnight bag sat by the front door. He was cleaning up in the kitchen when he heard a knock. Lily stood in the doorway, her face drawn but composed. "Can I come in?" "Of course." Jack dried his hands on a towel. "You okay?" I opened my father's envelope. The statement hung in the air between them. "And," Jack prompted, "there's a letter." She pulled a folded piece of paper from her pocket. "And information about his estate, such as it is." "What did the letter say?" Lily unfolded it with shaking hands. "Do you want to read it, or should I tell you?" "Whatever you're comfortable with." She took a breath and began to read. "Dear Lily, I know this letter won't fix anything. I know sorry is just a word and words won't heal the hurt I caused. But I wanted you to know that leaving you and your mother was the biggest mistake of my life. I was young and stupid and scared, and I thought running away from responsibility would make me free. All it did was make me alone. I spent 32 years trying to build a life that mattered, and all I built was regret. I should have been there for your first day of school, for your graduation, for your wedding that I heard about through the grapevine but wasn't invited to. I should have been the father you deserved instead of the ghost I became. The money in the account won't buy back lost time, but maybe it'll help you build the future I stole from you. Be happy, Lily. Be happier than I ever was. That's all I want now. That's all I've wanted for a long time. Your father, Dale Morgan." She folded the letter carefully and put it back in her pocket. Neither of them spoke for a long moment. "He was right," Lily said finally. "Sorry is just a word, and it doesn't fix anything." "No," Jack agreed, "but it's honest, and honesty's worth something." "Is it?" She looked at him, her eyes searching. "Because right now I wish he'd lied. I wish he'd said leaving was the right choice, and he never regretted it. At least then I could hate him cleanly. But you can't hate him now. I don't know what I feel." She sank into a chair. "The letter makes him human, and it's easier to hate a monster than a man who made mistakes." Jack sat across from her. "You're allowed to feel complicated things about him. You're allowed to be angry and sad and relieved all at once." "That's exhausting," Lily said. "Welcome to grief." She almost smiled. "You sound like you know from experience." "I do." Jack hadn't planned to share this, but something about the moment made it feel right. "My mother died when I was 14. Cancer. Took 2 years from diagnosis to death, and by the end I was so tired of watching her suffer that when she finally went I felt relieved. Then I felt guilty for feeling relieved. Then I felt angry that I had to feel guilty. It was a mess." "I didn't know that," Lily said softly. "Never talked about it." Jack shrugged. "My father said grief was private, that real men didn't cry or talk about their feelings. So I didn't. I just worked. Worked until I was too tired to think about what I'd lost." "That's why you work so hard," Lily realized. "You're still running from grief." "Maybe." Jack met her eyes. "Or maybe I just don't know any other way to be." "We're a pair, aren't we?" Lily said. "Both running from our pasts, both too scared to stand still long enough to deal with it." "That's changing," Jack said. "For both of us." "Is it?" she challenged. Or are we just fooling ourselves? Maybe we're too broken to fix. I don't believe that. Why not? Because broken things can still be useful, Jack said. A fence with a broken board still keeps the cattle in. A truck with a busted taillight still gets you where you need to go. We're not perfect, Lily, but we're not useless either. She studied him for a long moment. When did you get so wise about feelings? I'm not wise. I'm just tired of running. He reached across the table and took her hand. And I think you are too. I am, she admitted. I'm so tired, Jack. Tired of being angry. Tired of being scared. Tired of protecting myself from people who might hurt me. So stop protecting yourself, Jack said. At least from me. Let me in all the way. What if you hurt me? I probably will, he said honestly. Not on purpose, but I'll mess up. Say the wrong thing. Do something stupid, but I'll also show up, every day. And when I hurt you, I'll own it and try to do better. That's all I'm asking for, Lily whispered. Then you've got it. He squeezed her hand. Starting now. Starting with tomorrow. We go to Montana together. We deal with your father's estate together, and we come back here together. No more doing things alone. Lily nodded, tears streaming down her face. Okay. Okay, Jack echoed. They sat in silence, hands linked across the table. Two broken people who'd spent years running from intimacy, finally standing still long enough to try. I should go, Lily said eventually. Get some sleep before tomorrow. Stay, Jack said. The word surprised him as much as it surprised her. What? Stay here tonight, he clarified quickly. I don't mean that. I just mean, don't go back to your cabin alone. Sleep in the guest room. I'll sleep out here. I don't think either of us should be alone tonight. Lily looked at him, vulnerability and hope warring in her expression. You really mean that? I really mean that. Okay, she said softly. I'll stay. Jack showed her to the guest room, gave her a clean towel and one of his t-shirts to sleep in. They stood in the hallway, neither quite sure how to say goodnight. Jack. Lily's voice was small. Yeah. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I don't have to do tomorrow alone. You'll never have to do anything alone again, Jack said. Not if I have anything to say about it. She stood on her toes and kissed his cheek. Good night, Jack Turner. Good night, Lily Morgan. She closed the door, and Jack stood in the hallway for a long moment before heading to the couch. He knew he wouldn't sleep much. His mind was too full of everything that had happened in the past 24 hours. Yesterday morning, Lily was just his bookkeeper. Someone he worked with, relied on, but never really saw. Now she was his girlfriend, his partner. Something undefined, but undeniably real. He didn't have the words for it, but he knew one thing for certain: his life had changed. And there was no going back to the comfortable isolation he'd built around himself. Lily had blown that apart with her confession, and her father had demolished it further with his death. Jack was exposed, now vulnerable, in a way he'd spent years avoiding. And the strangest part? He didn't want to build the walls back up. He wanted to stay exposed, stay vulnerable, stay open to whatever came next, even if it hurt. Because Lily was worth the risk. The ranch was worth the risk. The life they could build together was worth the risk. Jack closed his eyes and tried to sleep, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges. But for the first time in years, he wasn't facing them alone, and that made all the difference. Jack woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of someone moving in his kitchen. For a disoriented moment, he forgot why Lily was there, forgot about her father, forgot about everything except the fact that he wasn't alone. Then it all came rushing back. He found her at the stove making eggs. She'd put on his t-shirt and a pair of his sweatpants, the waistband rolled several times to keep them up. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. "You're cooking," he said. She jumped, nearly dropping the spatula. "You scared me again." "Sorry. Seems to be my specialty lately." He moved to the coffee pot. "You didn't have to make breakfast." "I needed something to do with my hands." She flipped the eggs with more force than necessary. If I stopped moving, I'd start thinking about today. We don't have to go, Jack said. I can call the hospital, tell them, no. Her voice was firm. I need to do this. I just don't want to think about it until I absolutely have to. They ate in silence, both lost in their own thoughts. When Lily's phone rang, she stared at it like it might explode. Answer it, Jack said gently. She picked it up. Hello? A pause. Yes, this is Lily Morgan. Another pause and her face went pale. I don't understand. Can you repeat that? Jack set down his fork, alarm rising. There must be some mistake, Lily said into the phone. That's not no, I'm sure there's been an error. She listened for another moment, then said tightly, I'll be there in 6 hours. Don't do anything until I arrive. She ended the call and sat frozen. Lily, what happened? That was my father's lawyer. Her voice was hollow. He said Dale left everything to me. But that's not the problem. What's the problem? Everything is a lot more than I thought. She looked at Jack, her eyes wide. My father was worth $3.2 million. The number hung in the air like a bomb. That's... Jack struggled to process it. How he drove a beat-up truck. He looked like a broke cowboy I know. Lily stood abruptly pacing. The lawyer said he owned a trucking company, started small 30 years ago and built it up, sold it last year for a fortune and invested the money. Jesus Christ, he was dying, Lily said, her voice rising. He knew he was dying, and he came here with $3 million in the bank to what, ease his conscience, buy my forgiveness. Maybe he just wanted to see you, Jack offered. With $3 million as a backup plan. She laughed, but it was jagged. No, he wanted something. He always wanted something. You don't know that. Don't I? She whirled on him. He abandoned me when I was 6. Jack, he let my mother and me struggle and scrape by for decades while he was building a trucking empire. And now he's dead, and I'm supposed to just what? Be grateful. I don't think he wanted gratitude, Jack said carefully. I think he wanted forgiveness. Well, he didn't get it. The words echoed in the small kitchen. He died before I could decide if he deserved it, and now I'm stuck with his blood money, and his guilt, and his... Her voice broke. I don't want it. I don't want any of it. Jack stood and crossed to her. Then don't take it. The lawyer said it's mine, that Dale's will was ironclad, no other beneficiaries, no charities, just me. You can refuse an inheritance, Jack pointed out. Lily stared at him. Can I? Sure. Sign it over to charity. Let the state take it. There are options. She was quiet for a long moment. $3 million could change everything. Yeah, Jack agreed. It could. I could pay off my debts, buy my own ranch, never have to depend on anyone again. She said it like she was testing the words. Something cold settled in Jack's gut. Is that what you want? I don't know what I want. Lily's frustration boiled over. 24 hours ago, I wanted you to notice me. Then I wanted time to figure us out. Then my father showed up and died, and now I'm rich and I don't know what any of it means. It means you have choices, Jack said quietly. Maybe for the first time in your life you have real choices. The statement landed between them with weight. And one of those choices is leaving? Lily said, not quite a question. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. She wrapped her arms around herself. I can see it on your face. You think I'm going to take the money and run. Are you? Jack couldn't keep the edge from his voice. I don't know. She turned away from him. I don't know anything anymore, except that my father spent 3 decades building a fortune while I ate ramen and worked 2 jobs to put myself through college. And now he's dead, and that fortune is mine, and I'm supposed to what? Pretend that makes up for it. Nobody's asking you to pretend anything, Jack said. Aren't they? She faced him again, tears streaming down her face. The lawyer called me Miss Morgan, like I'm some kind of heiress. Like money erases the fact that my father abandoned me. Like $3 million makes us even. It doesn't, Jack said firmly. Money doesn't fix abandonment. It doesn't heal wounds. It's just money. Just money, Lily repeated. Says the man who's been barely scraping by on this ranch for years. The accusation stung. What's that supposed to mean? It means you don't get to tell me money doesn't matter when you've been working yourself to death, trying to keep this place afloat. Her voice cracked. I've seen the books, Jack. I know how close you are to losing everything. So don't stand there and act like $3 million is nothing. I'm not saying it's nothing, Jack shot back. I'm saying it doesn't change who you are or what you've been through. Doesn't it? She challenged. Because right now I feel like a completely different person than I was yesterday. That's fear talking, Jack said. You're scared that having money will change you the way it changed your father. Lily went very still. Don't. Don't what? Tell the truth, Jack pressed on. Your father built an empire and lost his family. Now you're terrified that if you take his money, you'll turn into him. I said don't. Her voice was ice. Why? Because it's too close to the truth. Jack knew he was pushing too hard, but he couldn't stop. You're looking for a reason to refuse the inheritance. Not because you don't want the money, but because accepting it means accepting that your father thought about you, cared about you, wanted to give you something even if he couldn't give you himself. Stop it. Lily's shout filled the kitchen. You don't know what you're talking about. Then explain it to me, Jack demanded. Help me understand why you're so angry about money that could change your life. Because it's too late. The words ripped out of her. Because I needed that money when I was 8 and couldn't afford school supplies. I needed it when I was 16 and had to quit the basketball team because I couldn't pay the fees. I needed it when my mother was dying and we couldn't afford the treatment that might have saved her. But now it's just his guilt in a bank account. The truth hung between them raw and bleeding. Your mother, Jack said softly. You never told me she died from lack of treatment. Stage 2 breast cancer. Lily's voice was flat dead. Caught early enough that treatment would have worked, but we couldn't afford it. No insurance, no savings, just nothing. So we tried holistic treatments and prayer and hope, and she died anyway. She looked at Jack with eyes full of ancient pain. $3 million would have saved her life, but Dale was too busy building his trucking company to know his ex-wife was dying. Jesus, Lily. So yes, Jack, I'm angry about the money. I'm furious about the money. Because it's coming 10 years too late to save the one person who actually needed it. She was shaking now, the words pouring out like poison she'd been holding in for years. My father's guilt doesn't bring her back. His regret doesn't change the fact that she died in pain while he was getting rich. Jack didn't know what to say. There were no words adequate for that kind of loss. I'm sorry, he managed finally. I'm so goddamn sorry. Lily wiped at her eyes. Everyone's sorry, but sorry doesn't help. No, Jack agreed. It doesn't. They stood in the wreckage of the conversation, both emotionally exhausted. We should go, Lily said eventually. If we leave now, we'll get to Montana by early afternoon. Are you sure you want to? I need to see his lawyer, sign whatever papers need signing. Then I can decide what to do with the money. She headed toward the guest room. Give me 10 minutes to change. Jack wanted to stop her to finish this conversation properly, but he could see she was done talking, at least for now. He gathered their bags and loaded them into the truck while Lily changed. When she emerged, she was back in her own clothes, her face carefully neutral. They drove in silence for the first hour, the tension thick between them. Finally, Jack couldn't stand it anymore. I shouldn't have pushed you like that. No? Lily agreed. You shouldn't have. But I'm not sorry I did. She looked at him sharply. What? You needed to say those things. About your mother. About the money. You've been carrying that alone for too long. That wasn't your call to make, Lily said coldly. Maybe not, but someone needed to make it. Jack kept his eyes on the road. You can be mad at me. That's fine. But don't pretend that conversation didn't need to happen. Lily was quiet for a long moment. You're right. I hate that you're right, but you are. Some of the tension eased. I never told anyone about my mother, Lily said quietly. Not Thomas, not anyone. I couldn't talk about it without falling apart. And now I feel lighter. She sounded surprised. Like something heavy I'd been carrying finally got set down. Grief is like that, Jack said. Heavy when you hold it alone, lighter when you share it. Is that what we're doing? Sharing grief? Among other things. Lily reached across the seat and took his hand. I'm still angry about the money. I know. But I'm glad you pushed me, even though I wanted to strangle you at the time. Jack squeezed her hand. You can strangle me later if you want, after we deal with Montana. She almost smiled. I'll hold you to that. They drove on, hands linked, both lost in their own thoughts. Montana appeared on the horizon around 2 in the afternoon. The lawyer's office was in a small town called Harlow, population barely 3,000. The kind of place where everyone knew everyone and strangers stood out. The lawyer was a man named Richard Carver, late 60s, with kind eyes and a firm handshake. His office smelled like old books and coffee. Miss Morgan, he said, gesturing to a chair. Thank you for coming so quickly. And you must be Jack Turner, Jack said, a friend of Lily's. Please, both of you sit. Carver settled behind his desk. I know this must be overwhelming. Losing a parent is never easy, even under complicated circumstances. Let's skip the pleasantries, Lily said. I want to know everything. The money, the will, all of it. Carver nodded, pulling out a thick folder. Very well. Your father's estate is valued at $3.2 million, as I mentioned on the phone. The majority is in investments and bonds. There's also a paid-off house here in Harlow worth approximately $400,000 and a small life insurance policy. He had a house. Lily's voice was sharp. Here in town. Yes, 447 Maple Street. He's lived there for the past 8 years. 8 years! Lily looked at Jack, then back at Carver. He's been 45 minutes from my ranch for 8 years and never contacted me. I can't speak to your father's reasoning, Carver said carefully. I can only tell you what's in the will. Then tell me, Lily demanded. Carver opened the will and began reading. Most of it was legal jargon, but the core was simple. Everything went to Lily. No conditions, no strings, just a straightforward transfer of assets. There's one more thing, Carver said, pulling out an envelope. Your father left this letter to be given to you after his death. He wrote it 6 months ago after his diagnosis. Lily stared at the envelope like it was a snake. I don't want it. Miss Morgan, I said I don't want it. Her voice rose. He already gave me one letter. I don't need another one telling me how sorry he is. Lily, Jack said gently, maybe you should read it. Why? She turned on him. So I can feel worse about refusing to forgive him. So I can carry more guilt. So you can know the truth, Jack said. Whatever that truth is. Lily's hands were shaking. What if I don't want to know? Then don't read it, Carver said quietly. It's yours to do with as you please, but in my experience, not knowing is worse than knowing. The questions will eat at you. Lily took the envelope with trembling fingers. She didn't open it. Is there anything else? She asked Carver. Just paperwork to sign. Transfer of assets title to the house bank accounts. He pushed several documents across the desk. Take your time. Read everything carefully. Lily scanned the documents, her expression unreadable. Jack watched her, wishing he could take some of this burden from her. This clause here, Lily said, pointing to a section. It says the house is furnished and contains personal effects. What personal effects? Your father's belongings, Carver explained. Clothes, furniture, photographs. Everything in the house is yours now. Photographs. Lily's voice was hollow. Of what? I don't know, Miss Morgan. I haven't been in the house. She looked at Jack. I need to see it. Are you sure? Jack asked. No, but I need to anyway. She turned back to Carver. Can I have the keys? Of course. He pulled a key ring from his desk drawer. The address again is 447 Maple Street. It's a 10-minute drive from here. Lily signed the papers mechanically, her mind clearly elsewhere. When they left the office, she clutched the keys so hard her knuckles turned white. We don't have to go to the house today, Jack said. We can get a hotel go tomorrow when you've had time to. No. Lily was already walking toward the truck. If I wait, I'll lose my nerve. The house was small, a modest ranch-style home on a quiet street. Nothing about it suggested wealth or success. It looked like a place where someone lived simply without pretension. Lily stood on the sidewalk staring at it. My father lived here, she said. For 8 years. 45 minutes from me. And I never knew. He kept his distance, Jack said. Maybe he thought that's what you wanted. Maybe. She walked up to the front door key in hand. Or maybe he was just a coward until the very end. The key turned in the lock. The door swung open. Inside the house was neat almost obsessively so. Not a dish in the sink, not a piece of mail out of place. It smelled faintly of coffee and wood smoke, and on every available surface the mantel, the walls, the bookshelves were photographs. Dozens of them. Maybe hundreds. Lily walked forward slowly, like she was in a dream. Jack, she whispered. Look. He moved to stand beside her. The photographs were all of Lily. Baby pictures, school photos, candid shots taken from a distance. There was Lily at her high school graduation. Lily at her college commencement. Lily on the day she started working at Jack's ranch, though she'd never known anyone was watching. He was following me, Lily said, her voice shaking. All these years, he was watching me. Not following, Jack corrected gently. Documenting, keeping track of you from afar. Why? Lily picked up a photo of herself at age 10, gap-toothed and grinning. Why watch me but never talk to me? Maybe he thought he didn't deserve to, Jack suggested. Lily moved through the house like a ghost, taking in every detail. There was a calendar on the wall with her birthday circled in red. A newspaper clipping about a charity event she'd organized 3 years ago, a program from a community theater production she'd been in when she was 17. He knew everything about me, Lily said, her voice breaking. Everything. And I knew nothing about him. In the bedroom they found more. A journal on the nightstand filled with entries about Lily's life, letters he'd written but never sent, a box of birthday cards, one for every year since he'd left, all unsigned. Lily sank onto the bed, clutching the journal. He loved me, she said, sounding stunned. All this time he actually loved me. Yeah, Jack said softly. He did. Then why didn't he? She couldn't finish the sentence. I don't know, Jack admitted. Maybe shame, maybe fear, maybe he thought he'd hurt you too much to ever be forgiven. He was right, Lily whispered. I wouldn't have forgiven him, not until it was too late. She opened the letter Carver had given her with shaking hands and began to read aloud. Dear Lily, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and you're probably angry. You have every right to be. I spent 32 years being too much of a coward to face you, and now I've run out of time. I want you to know that I saw you. Not just once, but often. I'd drive to Wyoming and watch you from a distance. I saw you grow from a scared little girl into a strong, capable woman. I saw you survive things that would have broken most people. I saw you build a life without me, and I was so goddamn proud. But I was also ashamed, because I knew that life would have been easier if I'd been there. I knew the struggles you faced were partly my fault. So I stayed away, telling myself it was better for you if I wasn't around to mess things up more than I already had. That was the biggest lie I ever told myself. The truth is, I stayed away because I was afraid. Afraid you'd reject me. Afraid I'd hurt you again. Afraid I wasn't good enough to be your father. And now I'm dying, and all I have left is regret and money. The regret I'll take to my grave. The money is yours. Use it however you want. Build something beautiful. Build something I never could. Just please. Lily, don't let my mistakes define your life. Don't let fear keep you from loving people who love you back. I wasted 32 years being afraid. Don't waste even one more day. Your father who loves you more than you'll ever know, Dale Morgan. Lily folded the letter carefully and set it aside. She didn't cry. She just sat there processing. He was watching me the day I started at your ranch, she said finally. Looks like it. He saw me fall in love with you. She looked at Jack. He knew. Before I even told you he knew. Maybe that's why he came to see you, Jack said. To make sure you were happy before he died. And I told him I was working on it. Lily's voice cracked. I told my dying father I was working on being happy, and he died thinking I wasn't there yet. You were honest, Jack said. That's all he asked for. Lily stood abruptly. I need air. I can't be in here right now. They went outside, sitting on the porch steps. The sun was starting to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. What am I supposed to do with all this? Lily asked. The house, the pictures, the letters. What am I supposed to do? Whatever feels right, Jack said. Nothing feels right. She put her head in her hands. He loved me, Jack. He really loved me. And I never gave him a chance to show it. He never gave you a chance to let him, Jack countered gently. This goes both ways, Lily. He made choices too. I know. She lifted her head. But that doesn't make it hurt less. They sat in silence as the sun disappeared and stars began to appear. I'm keeping the house, Lily said suddenly. What? The house. I'm keeping it. Not to live in. But as I don't know. A reminder that love and fear can exist in the same person. That people can care about you and still hurt you. That it's complicated. That's very wise, Jack said. I don't feel wise. I feel exhausted. She leaned against him. Take me home, Jack. I'm done with Montana. We just got here, he pointed out. I know, but I've seen enough. The lawyer can handle the rest. I just want to go home. Home. She'd said home, not back to the ranch. Home. All right, Jack said. Let's go home. They drove through the night, taking turns at the wheel, neither wanting to stop. Lily was quiet for most of the drive, staring out the window at the darkness. Around midnight, she finally spoke. Jack. Yeah. Thank you. For coming with me. For all of it. You don't have to thank me. Yes, I do. She turned to face him. You could have stayed home. Let me deal with this alone. But you didn't. You showed up. I said I would, Jack replied simply. I know, but most people say things they don't mean. You're not most people. Neither are you, Jack said. Lily smiled, and for the first time all day it reached her eyes. We're going to be okay, aren't we, you and me? Yeah, Jack said, believing it. We are. The ranch appeared on the horizon as dawn broke. Jack had never been so glad to see those familiar fields. They pulled up to the house, both exhausted. I'm sleeping for 12 hours, Lily announced. Sounds like a plan. She started toward her cabin, then stopped. Or I could sleep in your guest room again, if that's okay. Jack's heart did something complicated in his chest. More than okay. Good. She walked back toward him. Because I'm tired of sleeping alone, and I think maybe you are too. Yeah, Jack admitted. I really am. They went inside together, two people who'd spent their lives running from connection, finally standing still long enough to let it happen. And for the first time in a long time, Jack Turner's house felt like a home. They woke to the sound of Pete's truck pulling up at noon. Jack groaned and rolled off the couch where he'd fallen asleep fully clothed. I forgot I told him to check on us today, he muttered. Lily emerged from the guest room, her hair a mess, still wearing Jack's t-shirt. She froze when she saw Pete through the window. He's going to think, Let him think whatever he wants, Jack said, opening the door. Pete took one look at them and grinned. Well, hell. About damn time. It's not what it looks like, Lily started. Sure it isn't, Pete said, not buying it for a second. I just came to check on the cattle like you asked, but I can see you two had more important things to handle. Jack felt his face heat up. We went to Montana. Lily's father died. Pete's expression shifted immediately. Oh, hell, Lily. I'm sorry. Don't be, Lily said. It's complicated. Death usually is. Pete tipped his hat. Cattle are fine, by the way. Fed them yesterday and this morning. Everything's running smooth. Thanks, Pete, Jack said. I owe you. You don't owe me nothing. Pete headed back to his truck. But you do owe that woman a proper courting Turner. Don't screw it up. He drove off before Jack could respond. Lily laughed, the sound startling them both. Did he just tell you to court me? Apparently. Jack rubbed his face. Pete's old school. I like him. Lily headed to the kitchen. Coffee. God? Yes. They moved around each other with an ease that surprised Jack. Yesterday, they'd been awkward strangers. Today, they felt like partners. The word fit better than anything else. I've been thinking about the money, Lily said as the coffee brewed. Jack tensed. And, I'm going to use part of it to pay off your ranch debt. The statement hit him like a physical blow. What? No, absolutely not. Jack, I said no, Lily. I'm not taking your money. It's not charity, she said calmly. It's an investment. In what? In us. She turned to face him. I want to be your partner, Jack. Not just your bookkeeper or your girlfriend or whatever we are. An actual partner. 50-50 ownership of this ranch. Jack stared at her. You're serious. Dead serious. She poured 2 cups of coffee, handing him one. I've got $3 million I don't want sitting in a bank account making me feel guilty. You've got a ranch you're about to lose because you're too proud to ask for help. Seems like an obvious solution to me. It's not that simple, Jack protested. Why not? Because he struggled to find the words. Because I built this place. It's mine. I can't just what except help. Let someone in. Lily's voice sharpened. We literally just spent the last 2 days dealing with my father's inability to let people help him. You really want to make the same mistake? The comparison stung because it was accurate. This is different, Jack said weakly. How? Because if you become my partner, you're tied to this place, to me. And what if things don't work out between us? Lily set down her coffee cup. Is that what you're really worried about? That I'll leave? Everyone leaves eventually. Jack said the words coming out harder than he intended. Not everyone. Lily moved closer. Your mother didn't leave by choice, and I'm not going anywhere unless you push me away. What if I do? What if I screw this up so badly you can't stand to be around me? Then we'll figure it out like adults, Lily said. We'll write up a partnership agreement with clear terms. What happens if we break up? What happens if one of us wants out all of it? Legal and binding. Jack wanted to argue, wanted to tell her it was a terrible idea, but he couldn't because it wasn't. Why? He asked instead. Why do you want to tie yourself to this ranch? You could buy your own place, start fresh somewhere else. Because this is where I fell in love, Lily said simply. With the land, with the work, with you. And I don't want to start over somewhere else. I want to build something here. Even after everything with your father. Especially after everything with my father. She took his hand. He spent 32 years being too afraid to be part of my life. I'm not going to waste another day being too afraid to be part of yours. Jack felt something crack open in his chest. You're sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything. I'll mess it up, he warned. I'll work too much and forget to communicate and probably drive you crazy. I know, Lily smiled. And I'll get frustrated and call you on your bullshit and we'll fight. But we'll also make it work. Because that's what partners do. Jack pulled her close, kissing her hard. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "Okay," he said. "Partners." "Partners," Lily echoed. "Now let's talk numbers." They spent the next 3 hours going over the ranch finances in detail. Lily had clearly been thinking about this. She had spreadsheets and projections and plans that made Jack's head spin. "You did all this in Montana?" he asked, impressed. "I couldn't sleep on the drive back," she admitted. "So I ran numbers in my head. Then I put them down this morning while you were still snoring." "I don't snore." "You absolutely snore," she pointed to a column. "Here's what I'm thinking. We use $500,000 to pay off your debt and invest in infrastructure improvements. New fencing, updated equipment, maybe expand the cattle operation." "500,000, Jack repeated the number, still not quite real. "That leaves me with $2.7 million, which I'll invest conservatively. The returns should give us a cushion for bad years." "What about the house in Montana?" Lily was quiet for a moment. "I want to turn it into a resource center for kids who lost parents. A place where they can get counseling support, maybe even financial help if they need it." Jack's throat tightened. "That's Lily, that's amazing." "It's what my mother would have wanted," she said. "And maybe it's what my father wanted too, in his own messed up way. He couldn't save my mother, but maybe his money can help save other people." "You're incredible," Jack said, meaning it. "I'm practical." But she smiled. "So is that a yes? You'll let me invest in the ranch?" Jack took a deep breath. This was it. The moment where he either held onto his pride or admitted he needed help. "Yes," he said, "but I have conditions." "Of course you do." Lily crossed her arms, waiting. "We draw up a real partnership agreement, with a lawyer. Everything in writing so there's no confusion later." "Agreed. And we don't tell people about the money, not the full amount. I don't want everyone in town knowing you're rich," Lily supplied. "I'm not comfortable with it either. We keep it quiet." "And one more thing." Jack met her eyes. "This doesn't change us. You're not my boss, and I'm not yours. We're equals. In everything. Deal." Lily stuck out her hand. "Partners." Jack shook it, then pulled her into his arms instead. Partners. They were kissing when Jack's phone rang. He ignored it. It rang again. "You should get that," Lily murmured against his lips. Cursing, Jack answered. "What?" "Jack Turner." An unfamiliar voice. "This is Donald Webb from First National Bank." Jack went cold. "What do you want, Webb?" "I'm calling about your loan. I've been reviewing the account and I'm concerned about your ability to make next month's payment." "I'll make the payment," Jack said through gritted teeth. "I'm sure you intend to. But your history shows—" "I said I'll make the payment." Jack's voice was hard. "I'm afraid I need more assurance than that. I'm going to need to see a payment of $50,000 by the end of this week, or I'll have to begin foreclosure proceedings." $50,000. Jack's voice rose. "The payment's not due for 3 weeks. It's within my rights to call the loan if I feel the borrower is at risk of default. And frankly, Mr. Turner, you're a significant risk." "You son of a—" Lily grabbed the phone from his hand. "Mr. Webb, this is Lily Morgan, Mr. Turner's business partner. I'll have a cashier's check for the full loan amount delivered to your office tomorrow morning. Consider the account paid in full." Silence on the other end. That won't be necessary, Miss Morgan. As long as the monthly payments." "I wasn't asking your opinion," Lily said coldly. "The loan will be paid in full tomorrow. Have the paperwork ready." She hung up before Webb could respond. Jack was staring at her. You just paid off your loan, yes." She handed him back his phone. "That man's a vulture. He's been waiting for you to miss a payment so he can foreclose and sell the land to developers." "How do you know that?" "Because I've been doing your books for 2 years, Jack. I know exactly what kind of man Donald Webb is." She was furious, her whole body vibrating with anger. "He's been circling this ranch like a shark, just waiting for you to stumble." "I would have made the payment," Jack said. "I know, But now you don't have to. Lily's voice softened. Let me do this, Jack. Let me help. Jack wanted to argue, wanted to tell her he could handle it himself. But the truth was, he couldn't. Not without her. Okay, he said finally. Thank you. That's what partners do, Lily said. They help each other. The next morning, Lily drove to the bank with a cashier's check for the full amount of Jack's loan. She came back with the title to the ranch free and clear. It's done, she said, handing him the papers. The ranch is ours. Ours. The word settled over Jack like a warm blanket. I need to tell you something, he said. What? I love you. The words came out easier than he expected. I should have said it days ago, but I was too scared. But I'm saying it now. I love you, Lily Morgan. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You love me. Yeah, I really do. Say it again, she whispered. I love you, Jack repeated. I love how you make my coffee every morning. I love how you organize my life and call me on my bullshit. I love that you're brave enough to be vulnerable and strong enough to stand on your own. I love everything about you, and I'm sorry it took me 2 years to figure it out. Lily launched herself at him, kissing him so hard they both stumbled backward. I love you too, she gasped between kisses. I love you so much it scares me. Good, Jack said. Because I'm terrified too. But I'd rather be terrified with you than alone. They made love for the first time that afternoon in Jack's bed, with the windows open and the Wyoming wind blowing through. It was awkward and perfect, and completely them. Afterward, they lay tangled together, both too content to move. What happens now? Lily asked. We run a ranch, Jack said. Together. Just like that. Just like that. He kissed her forehead. We'll fight and make up and probably drive each other crazy. But we'll do it together. I can live with that, Lily said. Over the next few weeks, they worked with a lawyer to draw up the partnership agreement. It was detailed and thorough, covering every possible scenario. When they finally signed it, Jack felt like he could breathe for the first time in years. The ranch itself began to transform. With the debt gone and capital to invest, they upgraded equipment, fixed fences that had been sagging for years, and expanded the cattle operation. Lily hired 2 ranch hands to help with the work over Jack's initial protests. You're going to work yourself to death if you keep trying to do everything alone, she told him firmly. We're building something sustainable, not killing ourselves. She was right as usual. Word got around town that Jack had a new business partner, though nobody knew the full story. Pete winked every time he saw them together. The other ranchers started treating Lily with more respect, recognizing her not just as Jack's girlfriend, but as a capable ranch manager in her own right. 3 months after they became partners, Lily started the Dale Morgan Foundation in Montana, using her father's house as the base. She hired a director, set up a board, and created a scholarship fund for kids who'd lost parents. It's not going to bring him back, she told Jack, or fix what he broke, but maybe it'll help someone else. He'd be proud of you, Jack said. Maybe. Lily looked at the foundation's website on her laptop. Or maybe he'd just be relieved that the money's doing some good. 6 months in, Jack woke up one morning to find Lily already outside feeding the horses. He watched her from the window, this woman who'd turned his entire world upside down, and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Joy. Pure, uncomplicated joy. He joined her in the barn. Morning. Morning. She kissed him. Sleep okay. Better than okay. He helped her finish the feeding. I've been thinking. Dangerous? Lily teased. I'm serious. Jack took her hand. I want you to move into the main house. No more sleeping in the guest room or pretending we're not together. Just move in. Officially. Lily's eyes widened. Jack, I know it's fast, he said, but we've already merged our businesses and our lives. Seems silly to keep living in separate houses. That's very practical of you, Lily said, a smile playing at her lips. I'm a practical man. You're an idiot if you think this is about practicality. But she was grinning now. Yes. I'll move in. Yeah. Yeah. She kissed him again. But I'm redecorating. This house needs some serious work. Whatever you want. Jack said, meaning it. They worked together over the next month to merge their households. Lily brought her books and her organizational systems and her insistence on actual curtains. Jack contributed his furniture and his stubbornness and his slowly improving communication skills. The first fight they had after moving in together was about the thermostat. The second was about Jack forgetting to tell Lily he'd invited Pete for dinner. The third was about Lily reorganizing Jack's tools. They worked through each fight the same way, with honesty and occasional yelling, and always coming back to the fact that they loved each other. A year after they became partners, Jack proposed. Not with a fancy ring or a planned moment, but while they were both covered in dirt from fixing a broken water line. "Marry me," he said, wrench still in hand. Lily looked at him like he'd lost his mind. "What? Marry me?" Jack repeated. "I know I'm supposed to do this with flowers and getting down on one knee, but I don't want to wait. I want to marry you, Lily. Today, tomorrow, next year, whenever you'll have me. You're proposing right now while we're covered in mud." "Yeah." Jack set down the wrench. "Because this is us. We're not fancy or traditional or any of the things people expect. We're just us. And I want to be us for the rest of my life." Lily started crying and laughing at the same time. "You're an idiot." "Is that a yes?" "It's a hell yes." She tackled him into the mud. "But you're buying me a ring later." "Deal." They got married 6 months later in a small ceremony on the ranch. Pete was Jack's best man. Lily's only bridesmaid was the director of the Dale Morgan Foundation, a woman who'd lost her own father young and understood what the foundation meant. The ceremony was simple. The vows were honest. And when Jack kissed his bride, he felt like the luckiest man in Wyoming. "I love you, Mrs. Turner," he whispered. "I love you too," Lily whispered back. "Partner." They honeymooned by staying home and working the ranch because that's who they were. They woke early and worked hard and fell into bed exhausted every night. And they were happy. 2 years after they met again as boss and employee and fell in love as equals, Jack and Lily Turner stood on their porch watching the sunset over their ranch. The cattle were grazing peacefully. The horses were fed and happy. The books were balanced, and the debt was gone, and the future was theirs to build. "You know what I realized today?" Lily said, leaning against Jack. "What's that?" "I never thanked my father." Jack looked at her. "For what?" "For dying when he did." She said it without guilt. "If he'd lived, I would have spent years being angry at him, maybe forever. But because he died, I had to deal with all that anger and grief at once. And it forced me to choose hold on to the pain or let it go." "And you chose to let it go," Jack said. "I chose to let it transform into something useful." Lily gestured at the ranch. "Without his money, we might have lost this place. Without his death, I might never have told you how I felt. So in a weird way, his biggest failure turned into the thing that saved us both." Jack pulled her closer. "That's a generous way to look at it. It's the only way I can look at it and stay sane." She kissed his jaw. "Besides, being angry at a dead man is exhausting. I'd rather spend that energy loving a living one." "I'll take that deal," Jack said. They stood in comfortable silence as the sun disappeared and stars began to emerge. The same stars that had watched over this land for generations that would watch over it for generations to come. "We made it," Lily said softly. "Against all the odds, we actually made it." "Yeah," Jack agreed. "We did." And they had. Two broken people who'd spent years running from love had finally stood still long enough to let it catch them. They'd built something real from the wreckage of their pasts. A partnership. A marriage. A life. The cowboy had finally learned to see what was right in front of him, and the woman who'd loved him in silence had found her voice. Together they'd created something neither could have built: alone, a future worth fighting for, a love worth keeping, and a home that would stand the test of time. This was their story, messy and real and completely their own. And it was against all odds and expectations a happy ending built on honest foundations, shared dreams, and the courage to try even when failure seemed certain. They had found each other, fought for each other, and chosen each other every single day. That choice, repeated morning after morning, was the strongest promise they could make. And it was enough. More than enough. It was everything.